Hey, good morning. Welcome to Thinking is Contagious. Uh, Need your support. Hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy this, if you think this is something that's worthwhile, we do. Putting a lot of effort into it, and I need you to let us know that you enjoy it and that you want to keep hearing it. And the only way to do that is hit that subscribe button. Let me talk a little bit about Democrats. Vernon Jones, Georgia State Representative, African American. Saw him this morning on Fox, and his point was President Trump, the last 4 years, has done more for blacks than has been done in Washington for the last 30 years. Quick point to ponder on that: 4 years of Trump, no influence of Joe Biden. 30 years prior, as referenced by the state representative, very little, if any, progress. And Biden had his hand in the cookie jar there for 8 years. You couldn't have had more influence than Joe Biden had. And in 4 years, Trump has done far more. So when Joe Biden comes out and says he's going to fix all these ills, and he represents the black community, and he represents minorities, and he represents all the great things in the world, he's had his chance. He's done nothing. As a matter of fact, he's sunk the cause. He's hurt the cause. And he has been integral in leadership. And if you are to take the Democrats at their word in this terrible, pitiful state that we're in now, supposedly, as far as race relationships is concerned, he's steered the ship for the last 40 years. He's been an integral part of steering the ship for the last 40 years. So I think it's pretty evident that Joe Biden is a waste of time. But that's for you guys to decide. And I'll tell you what I already have decided. As far as other factors here, Operation Legend is coming across, and you're seeing a lot of the results of the president's efforts to bring law and order back to the streets. You have the Portland City Council actually came out and told the Portland police that they're not to cooperate with the federal agents that are coming in. That's one end of the spectrum. It's further and really enhanced that mindset is what's happening in Chicago. It's happening in many major Democrat-led cities, and a couple of Republican cities, but mostly Democrat cities. Um, you see Portland, you see Seattle, you see Chicago. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, the absolute poster child for incompetence and an agenda-driven administration where collateral damage is fully acceptable as long as the agenda is uh, pursued. Uh, there was an interview this morning on Fox also with an alderman from Chicago, a Democrat, a Hispanic, Raymond Lopez, um, who came out and said that he is opposed to many of Donald Trump's positions, but that as far as the anarchy and the violence that's in the streets of Chicago, that he is in agreement that help is needed. He plays, or they play, the interview on Fox plays a city council meeting in which the alderman is addressing the mayor, Lori Lightfoot. It's about 2 weeks, I think, ago. And he tells the mayor that his concern is that once these uh, pillagers and looters are burned out, public property, destruction of public property is not enough, and they start going after citizens. That's his concern. His concern is his constituents, his citizens, his families. And Mayor Lightfoot, in her liberal open-mindedness, her response literally is, "You're full of shit if you think we're going to let that happen." So you see that as long as you don't contest, as long as you don't criticize the narrative, then everything is fine and everyone is friendly and we all need to get along and we need to respect each other's opinions. But as soon as you step on the toes of the liberal side, the attack is relentless, even against their own. So the cannibalism uh, is acceptable at that point. That's something that is going on, and it's going on regularly. And I I think that the Operation Legend is something that is so necessary and so important at this point to protect America's citizens and bring law and order back to the streets of these cities. Um, we we jump to I'm going to jump to another issue, which is um, the liberal media. As of late, I've noticed that has been talking about in the last couple of days that the Republicans on this new stimulus package, they can't get together, the infighting, um, trying to show that there's no direction within the Republican Party. And what it fails to mention or fails to look at, and I think what's painfully obvious, is that the Republican Party, what they're doing is something that is foreign to the Democrats, which is having constructive conversation, listening to the various points of view within the Republican Party. There's some more fiscal conservative Republicans, there's some that are a little more aggressive. They're listening and they're talking and they're discussing the various options the way you're supposed to debate issues that really affect the country, the future of the country. Um, these are important issues on trillions and trillions of dollars. So this debate that's going on within the Republican Party about whether the uh, the unemployment tax holiday is a good idea or not a good idea, whether the bailout of the municipalities is a good idea or not a good idea, whether it should be $600 a week or $200 a week or four. All these are normal, thought out processes that need to take place. The Republicans are doing what they were voted to do. On the flip side, you see what the Democrats are. They slap this together, their proposal, and all it is a blank check, vote buying scheme. And again, collateral damage completely acceptable. What's a trillion more, a trillion less? We're not going to pay for it. Kick the can down the road. Let's stay in power. Let's buy the vote. Let's give rights. Let's give Medicare to everybody. Let's protect every individual that comes into this country, that legal or not legal. Let's just spend the money. Don't worry about it. It's just a printing. It's just paper anyway. So what the Democrats and what the liberals are trying, or the media is trying to point out as an inefficiency on the Republican side, I think it's to be applauded, and I think it's crucial that we continue along that path. Um, Speaking of liberal media, the Goya CEO who came out and promoted or actually praised Donald Trump, the Trump administration, and I found it pretty humorous that Ocasio-Cortez comes out and says that I guess we won't be buying beans. Uh, Let me ask you something. If that was a Anglo conservative that said we won't be buying beans, is that stereotyping Latinos? Would that be stereotyping? Would that be in any way like would you would you be called out if you were a conservative as racism? I mean, beans, Latinos, Goya. I mean, I don't know. I think it could be. But anyway, another point to that, since she says let's not buy beans, let's boycott Goya. When the Goya CEO praised Obama, we didn't hear anything about boycott at that point. So again, as long as you go with the liberals, as long as you're on their side and you tell them how great they are, then they love you, they embrace you, they want diversity, they want everyone. Oh, we want everyone's opinion as long as it coincides with ours. We continue forward on sort of the same topic. I also heard Juan Williams, and okay, I know it's Juan Williams, and he's paid to stir the pot on Fox. And he's the guy who gets, the conservatives going, and I don't even think he believes 90% of what he says. But, he made a statement that was just so over the top in one of his monologues, saying that um, the country during the divisiveness of the country is based on the Trump administration, as if, the Trump administration is what's to blame for this divisiveness. Actually, Donald Trump is president because of the divisiveness that was created in this country by the previous administration, by the previous 8 years. Otherwise, a guy like Donald Trump would never have won the presidency. So I think Juan Williams and Greg Guttenfeld really jumped on it and pointed out the same thought. Um, Another one I want to talk about, really important, Don Peebles. Don Peebles is a huge Obama supporter. He's an African American. He's a Democrat from down here in Miami. And Peebles was on Fox sometime. I don't know if it was today. And he said something which I've said in one of my original podcasts, and I got a lot of flack. I've gotten a lot of flack for it about um, misogyny, and gender, and race, and you know. And it's what I said that, and people said it today. He said that Biden made a huge mistake when he came out and said that he was going to uh, uh, get a vice president, a woman as a vice president. And people said should not be the mandate for vice president to get the best candidate. So he said that was a mistake to begin with. He said then he further dug the hole by saying it was going to be an African American woman. He said again the same uh, basic gist that he's painted himself into a corner, that it should be the best candidate, and that the directive should not be gender, race, sexual orientation. It should be the best candidate, and you don't belittle the choice. And this is something that I've really harped on, that by the divisiveness, by the compartmentalizing of individuals, by a woman, a race, sexual orientation, whatever, you diminish the actual role that you're trying to fill, or the position that you're trying to fill, because you have the caveat that this is the choice within this smaller playing field. So the objective should be this is the best choice, open to every playing field. And then if it happens to be a woman, if it happens to be an African American, if it happens to be a Hispanic, if it happens to be a whatever, you got the best person. And Peebles points this out, and this is something that I have been big on, big on, and feel 100%. Open your eyes, America. This is not about who is the best Hispanic for this job. This is not that who is the best leader among Hispanic Americans, who is the most qualified African American. No. We need the biggest, the brightest, and the best Americans to lead us. Okay? If they happen to be black, if they happen to be Hispanic, if they happen to be Oriental, if they whatever, it doesn't matter. It's we need the best. And what we're doing now through the liberal agenda is that the number one criteria is not the best, is not, as Alderman Lopez in Chicago says, we can't pander to the lowest common denominator of our society, which is we can't pander to a lower standard than the optimum standard, and the optimists aspire for the optimum. We need, within every community, within every group, we have the highest common denominator. Don't limit things. Let's go for the best, and let's go for the brightest, and let's go for the most qualified. And believe me, within that group, there is African Americans, there are Hispanics, there are women, there are men. But let's not make the denominator that we seek strictly based on a smaller mandate and criteria, because all that is a recipe for failure. I hope that this is taken the way it's meant, and God bless you. Hit that subscribe button. Definitely need your help. Thanks.